Boxing is such a crazy sport. It's weird that it's we all know now that it's so bad for you. It's so bad for your brain. Like the practice of it, the doing it, we know it's terrible for you, but we still watch. Just like football, just like MMA. We know. But you go, well.
I think they're just going to make training smarter because I don't think the fighting's going to ever end. Because we like it so much.
Some people don't train smarter, though. You can train any way you want. That's the problem. Nobody knows who's right. Like Eddie Alvarez sparred like 100 rounds in preparation for his fight against Rafael dos Anjos. He sparred like a shitload and came out looking like a monster. Just stormed dos Anjos, knocked him out in the first round. But then Conor, Conor doesn't spar that much. It doesn't spar like that, like the way Alvarez was doing it. And some guys aren't, like Donald Cerrone's not sparring at all. Donald Cerrone's just doing drills, and he looks better than ever. I mean, he just fucking head kicked Matt Brown. No one's ever knocked out Matt Brown like that. I mean, people have stopped him. Jake Ellenberger's the only one that ever stopped him, and he stopped him with a shot to the body. I don't think anybody else before that has stopped him with body shots. They've hurt him. But this was like a beating, and Donald head kicked him unconscious. I mean, that's like as final a victory as it gets, and he's not even sparring. He says he feels way better now.
He's like as veteran, as veteran as it comes. Like a new guy coming in, that doesn't sound like he shouldn't be sparring. He should probably be sparring a little bit.
The whole key is to get somebody who spars with you that's not trying to hurt you, but is just trying to grow with you and learn. That's so hard because egos get involved.
Boy George would never hurt you.
What?
Boy George would never hurt you.
Oh, song. Like, did you see the Bernard Hopkins fight?
Mm-hmm.
Sad, right? Yeah. That was sad. Bernard Hopkins, at 51 years old, fought this kid named Joe Smith Jr. If nobody's seen Joe Smith Jr. before, he's a killer. Like, Bernard Hopkins picked a killer, and this kid fucked him up. And this kid has extra long arms. He's got weird arms. Like, his arms go below his waist.
That's weird.
I was watching him fight. I was like, look at the length of his fucking arms. Like, he beat the shit out of Bernard, and he knocked him out of the ring. And Bernard caught him with some good shots. He was timing him, and he caught him with a few right hands, but the kid was just eating them and moving forward. And
you know what it looks like? It's like when people have fake hands, like the fake hands like sticking through the shirt sleeve.
Right? Yeah, he almost looked like a cartoon guy with his extra long arms, but he's a bad motherfucker, that guy. And Bernard got knocked through the ropes and fell on his head. It was crazy to watch. And he got up, he was all disoriented, didn't know what happened, thought he was pushed through the ropes, but he was punched through the ropes. That guy connected with like 4 or 5 big shots. And the last one was a left hook on the face as Bernard was going through the ropes, and it knocked him all the way through. But it was 100% legal. He didn't do anything wrong. He did everything with punches. None of it was a push. He was just bombing on him, and it just was a freak incident. It's one of the reasons why cages are so much better than a ring. A cage is so superior. Like a ring is like that possibility that you could fall through like that, that's terrible. They should stop using rings. And if they do use rings, they should pad the shit out of the outside area. The fact that someone like Bernard Hopkins, who's been boxing forever, can still get knocked through a rope like that and land on his head, that's a possibility. That's a stupid way of containing people. They should have, instead of ropes like that, what they should have is something that has a crisscross pattern where you can't go through it. And you should have to just climb over it to get in it. It should be real simple. And there should be a way that they could release the ropes. Like if there was a medical emergency at the end of the fight, it should be like a latch they could pull and drop the ropes down and get somebody out. But the ropes, the way they use them now in boxing matches, they should fucking outlaw those. The fact that Bernard Hopkins can get knocked through one like that, or at the very least, you got to protect the outside area. You got to pad the shit out of it, and you should have people around. And most of the time, 1,000 fights in a row, it's probably never gonna come into play. But the one time it does, you're responsible for that guy falling through the ropes. That's fucking stupid. Like, look at him. He goes flying through, man. Look at the length on that kid's arms.
That's ridiculous. So weird. It doesn't looks photoshopped. Like his head's not the right size or something.
He's built for it. I'll tell you that. He's got a great genetics. Works hard. Tough kid. Really good fighter.
Good chin line.
You like that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's an animal. I was super impressed with his poise too in fighting a guy like Bernard Hopkins. I mean, that guy stepped up in a big way, and he was a 2-to-1 underdog leading into that fight, which is really crazy. What's that?
Could have made some money on that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty convinced that Bernard was going to be able to stifle him and turn it into like the kind of fight that Bernard likes. But I wasn't sure if Bernard could win. You know, it's a long time off. 2 years when you're 51 years old. It's a long time off. He still fought amazing. But at the end of the day, that kid murked him. He was just too much. And he's a guy that would have been a real threat at any time in anyone's career. Like this kid has real talent. And right now, he's not thought of as being the best fighter in the world or anything even closely like that. But Bernard was at one point in time. Bernard, like when he beat Felix Trinidad, a lot of people were saying that might be the best pound-for-pound boxer on the earth. Like a lot of people thought Trinidad was going to beat him. He fucked Trinidad up. And then he fought Kelly Pavlik. And a lot of people wrote him off against Kelly Pavlik. He boxed the shit out of Kelly Pavlik. And so you look at like Bernard's legacy and you go, man, this is an unbelievably skillful guy. But at any point in that career, that Joe Kelly kid would have been a handful. He's just scary. Or Joe Smith, rather. That Joe Smith Jr. kid would have been a handful because he's just fucking scary. He hits hard, and he's super accurate, and he's got awesome endurance and a great work ethic. He's fucking dangerous, no matter what era it is. And Bernard, you know, maybe Bernard would have been able to beat him in his prime. You know, it's totally possible. It's 100% likely. I mean, Bernard's an all-time great. Maybe he would have been able to land more of the punches that he landed in that fight. But you don't know. I mean, that kid's dangerous.